My name is Elena Martinez, and I've been working at Zenith Solutions for 3 years as a project coordinator. Most people see me as the quiet one who keeps her head down, organizes meetings, and sends polite follow-up emails. What they don't know is that I have an MBA from Wharton and worked for 10 years in corporate compliance before taking this seemingly lesser role to be closer to my aging father. They also don't know that the CEO, Richard Blackwood, was my business ethics professor and remains a close family friend. The trouble started 6 months ago, when Marcus Kellerman got promoted to department head. Marcus was one of those people who confused loudness with leadership and micromanagement with efficiency. From day one, he made it clear that he viewed our team as his personal kingdom, and he was the undisputed ruler. I should have seen the red flags when he installed time-tracking software on our computers without HR approval. But I figured I'd give him the benefit of the doubt. Big mistake. Marcus had this obsession with what he called productivity optimization. He'd hover over our desks, timing our bathroom breaks with his stopwatch app. He implemented a policy where we had to request permission for any non-work-related computer activity, including checking personal emails during lunch. The man actually created a spreadsheet tracking how many minutes each employee spent away from their desk. But Marcus had a secret that I discovered quite by accident. 3 weeks into his reign of terror, I was working late to finish a client presentation when I noticed his computer screen was still active in his office. Curiosity got the better of me, and I quietly approached his doorway. There was Marcus supposedly working overtime, playing an online poker game and watching Netflix simultaneously. I couldn't believe the hypocrisy. Here was the man who timed our bathroom breaks, literally gambling and streaming movies on company time. I started paying closer attention. Marcus would arrive early and stay late, making a big show of his dedication. But I noticed he'd spend the first hour of each day online shopping, take 2-hour client lunches that involved no clients, and frequently disappear for what he called strategic thinking walks that looked suspiciously like trips to the coffee shop down the street. The breaking point came when Marcus fired Janet, a single mother who'd been with the company for 8 years. His justification? She'd been 3 minutes late returning from her lunch break twice in 1 week. The real reason? Janet had questioned his latest policy requiring written permission slips for personal phone calls during break time. That's when I knew I had to act. But I'm not the type to rush into battle without a strategy. I began documenting everything. Every bogus meeting Marcus scheduled during his online shopping sessions. Every fake client call that was actually him arguing with his bookie. Every urgent project that was really him updating his dating profile. I used the same time-tracking software he'd forced on us to monitor his computer activity, thanks to the administrative access I'd quietly maintained from my previous compliance role. The genius of my plan wasn't just catching Marcus in the act. It was how I'd frame his time theft as something beneficial to the company. You see, I discovered an obscure clause in our employee handbook about competitive intelligence gathering. The policy stated that employees who identified inefficiencies or compliance violations that saved the company money could be eligible for bonuses equal to 50% of the money saved. Marcus had no idea that I'd been calculating the cost of his time theft down to the penny. His salary was $95,000 annually. Based on my documentation, he was stealing approximately 15 hours per week of company time, which amounted to roughly $36,000 per year in wages for work not performed. But here's where it gets interesting. During one of Marcus's strategic thinking walks, I'd overheard him on a phone call admitting to a friend that he was planning to fire 3 more team members to trim the fat and make himself look like a cost-cutting hero to upper management. The 3 people on his list? All women over 40 who'd been with the company for more than 5 years. That's when I knew exactly how to destroy him. I spent 2 weeks preparing my case like a legal brief. Screenshots of his computer activity timestamped against his claimed work hours. Bank records I'd accidentally glimpsed showing gambling deposits made during work time. Even security footage from the lobby showing his extended absences during supposed client meetings. The beautiful irony was that Marcus's own time-tracking obsession provided me with perfect documentation of when he wasn't actually working. Every bathroom break he'd timed for us created a data trail, while his own extended absences were mysteriously unrecorded in the system. I scheduled a meeting with HR Director Patricia Wells, ostensibly to discuss workplace efficiency concerns. Patricia had always struck me as someone who appreciated thoroughness, so I came prepared with a comprehensive presentation. The look on her face when I opened my laptop was priceless. She thought she was getting a routine complaint about office policies. Instead, she got a masterclass in forensic workplace investigation. I walked Patricia through 6 months of documented time theft, complete with financial calculations and comparative analysis. But the real kicker was when I showed her Marcus's plan to fire 3 protected class employees, while he himself was stealing nearly $40,000 annually in company time. Patricia's jaw dropped when I explained that I was formally reporting this under the competitive intelligence policy, requesting the whistleblower bonus for identifying fraud that was costing the company tens of thousands annually. I also mentioned casually that I'd copied CEO Richard Blackwood on my findings, since we discussed similar compliance issues during our last family dinner. I may have forgotten to mention that Richard was practically family. Minor oversight. The next morning, Marcus strutted into the office as usual, completely unaware that his world was about to implode. He'd called an all-hands meeting for 10 a.m. to announce his latest cost-cutting initiative, which everyone knew meant more firings. At exactly 9:55 a.m., Marcus's computer locked him out of the system. His keycard stopped working. His company credit card was declined at the coffee shop where he'd been planning to conduct another fake client meeting. Patricia appeared at his desk with 2 security guards and a box for his personal items. In front of the entire team, she announced that Marcus Kellerman was being terminated immediately for time theft, fraudulent reporting, and violation of company policies. But the coup de grace came when Patricia handed me an envelope in front of everyone. Inside was a bonus check for $18,000. Exactly 50% of the money I'd saved the company by exposing Marcus's fraud, calculated annually. The beautiful thing about bureaucracy is that when you know how to use it, it's devastatingly efficient. Marcus stood there, mouth agape, holding his pathetic box of personal items while I calmly returned to my desk. The man who'd spent months timing everyone else's bathroom breaks was being escorted out for stealing more time than any of us could have imagined. As security walked him toward the elevator, Marcus turned back one final time, his face a mask of shock and humiliation. Our eyes met across the office floor, and I gave him the same polite smile I'd maintained through 6 months of his tyranny. The elevator doors closed and Marcus Kellerman was gone forever, destroyed not by the time he'd stolen, but by his complete failure to realize who he was dealing with.